Hey guys, today I want to do a follow-up review of my SPES Axel Peterson standard fencing jacket. My initial review of this jacket was over 2 years ago, January of 2015, and I felt that it was time to come back and give a follow-up review of this jacket, show how things have held up, and generally give some more information about this jacket. So for starters, in my initial review 2 years ago, I said that this jacket came very stiff. And it is still a little bit stiff, but for the most part, some of that stiffness has abated. I feel much more mobile than when I first got the jacket, and that has come just from many hours of using it in class, using it in sparring, sparring against steel, sparring against synthetic. I've actually loaned this jacket to various people in my club when they wanted to do sparring but didn't have a jacket, so this was somewhat of a loaner jacket for a bit. Multiple users, multiple weapons, lots of time. And have broken it in nicely. I can really move around much better than when I first got it. It is still a little stiff, which is to be expected because it's just layers of thick, padding to protect you from steel and synthetic or any kind of weapon strike, really. So that's to be expected. But on the whole, much more mobile than when I very first got it. The custom sizing, I still think is the way to go for these. Having it custom sized just made sure that it has fit me all these years and has been very mobile. I've never had any issues with how the jacket feels. It has just fit me really well this entire time. So I'm going to recommend that if you're going to get one of these jackets, definitely go for the custom sizing. One caveat to that is that if you read the sizing measurements on the jacket and you happen to match the size of a pre-made jacket already, you may not need custom sizing, so good on you. Next thing I want to say about this jacket is that everything has held up. None of the seams have come apart. There's no fraying of the material. The zipper was a big concern for some of my viewers, and the zipper has held up just fine. I haven't had to repair it. I haven't had to replace it. Every piece of the jacket is still functional and can be used for sparring and everything else. The Velcro is held up. The inner material, none of it has come apart. The entire jacket is just intact and solid. And that's again after 2 years of all kinds of sparring, all kinds of weapons, different weapon materials, different weapon types. It has just been an absolute a staple, just a critical part of my HEMA gear that will hopefully keep lasting me for years to come. One thing I want to talk about with this jacket is jacket maintenance. You may notice that my jacket is much dirtier than in my first video. There are stains on the arms, basically from protective equipment, forearm guards, things like that, rubbing off on the material and just generally discoloring it a little bit. I'm going to try to get it in the camera a little bit, but the light's probably going to throw it off. There are also stains on the jacket, noticeably around the neck here. It's a dirty jacket, basically. Now, I have washed this jacket probably, I would say 2 or 3 times over the last 2 years, and it is hard. There are some guides for doing it online, but basically the best way is to get a bucket, or if you want to ruin a bathtub, fill up a bathtub, fill up a container with usually cold water and soap, and then just throw your jacket in there, get it soaked with all the water and soap, try to scrub it as best you can with the soap and get as much of the dirt and grime and residue off of it. I've done it 2 or 3 times, like I said, and I've had kind of mixed results. For the most part, it does tend to take off some of the visible dirt and grime, but the smell may never go away. And one thing to say about maintenance of these jackets again, they will smell bad. They start to get an odor for sure because it's a non-ventilated, thick cloth thing that is just absorbing all of the sweat that you are producing when you fight, when you move around. It's all going into this jacket. I made the mistake of basically I would throw my jacket into my gear bag at the end of my classes and just haul everything home. And over time, that really contributed a lot to the smell because the jacket had no way to air out between classes, and it just started to get really nasty. So when I transport this jacket now, I just carry it separate from all my other gear, lets it air out more. When I go to class and then come home, I basically just hang this up in the garage and let it air out some. It seems to help a little bit with the smell, but again, this will soak up sweat and it will smell bad, so you should consider washing your jacket as regularly as you can. Another thing I wanted to talk about was some of the things that I noted in my first video, which I have since seen different examples of, or just seen some variation with other jackets of the same type. For starters, the color of the jacket. I ordered this jacket in white, but it's much more of a, I guess what you would call a natural color. It doesn't seem like the cotton has really been dyed or bleached, so it gives it this sort of off-white, almost very, very light tan kind of look. And I actually really like it. It feels like something that you might see, in a historical period, someone wearing who couldn't maybe afford cloth dye or an expensive dyed fabric for their jacket. So the nerd in me just kind of likes it. As I showed you earlier with the cleaning, this definitely shows dirt, as it were. It shows the stains very easily. But black jackets, and black seems to be the most popular color of these jackets, at least in my club. Black jackets will show dirt and sweat in different ways. For starters, the black will become lighter over time, and that helps stains start popping through. But also the sweat and basically the salt in your sweat starts turning the black jackets white in places. So you will still see dirt and sweat and stuff on a black Hema jacket. I just noticed that the way that dirt and stuff shows up on a lighter colored white, or in this case sort of natural colored jacket, just shows up differently. The white jackets that I have seen are actually, very white, bleached white look. If you watch my original video, my jacket was not that bright. From the very get-go, it was more of a natural color. And again, I actually liked it. I kind of wish that was an option you could select when you're ordering your jacket, but the only options I had were white, black, or red. I've also since learned that if you contact SPES, they can make your jacket in almost any color. I've since seen jackets in green and blue, and I believe I saw one in orange as well. So if you contact them, let them know what color is your favorite, and they can probably help you out with that for sure. Another thing that I noticed was the inside of this jacket. And in my first video I noted that it has this sort of silvery, almost like sweat wicking material. And I said that it helped you stay cool. And that's somewhat of a... Since making that video, I've done a lot more sparring, and I have gotten hot in this jacket. Most of the time you will get hot in these jackets because there are no grommets for ventilation or anything, though I'm definitely considering putting grommets in this jacket for ventilation. So you will get toasty in this jacket for sure. What I noticed though was that this nice material, which is, again, it feels really nice against your skin when you're sparring and everything, I haven't seen it in any other jackets that have come through our club. For the most part, the inside is done somewhat like the outside, where it's just a standard cotton cloth material, just basically the same as is outside the jacket. And I really wish that they would do this material more, because again, it just feels nice. It feels like it wicks a little bit of the sweat away. It felt like it was easier to wash as well, because when you're getting in there with the soap, stuff just sort of comes off of it. So I'm not sure if this is an option that SPES was trying out for a while and just gave up on, or if this is something optional that I somehow ordered and didn't know it. I'm not really sure what the deal is with it, but I'd be interested to hear from SPES, is this an option people can order, or is this something that was phased out? I may try to contact them and get an answer on that. Just throw this back on here. So those were the main differences of, this jacket and then further jackets that I've seen come into the club and had a chance to hold and say, huh, inside of that jacket is different and the color is a little different, huh. In my first video, I also mentioned the Axel Peterson Pro sparring jacket, which is almost the same as this jacket, except that this the front panel has a large piece of leather, nice thick leather, just to help further protection against thrusts and things like that. It also has plastic protective plates on the shoulder, bicep, elbow, and forearm. Those plates are a good idea, but I think the execution leaves some to be desired, because every single Axel Peterson Pro jacket that we've had come through our club basically has had those plastic plates knocked off over time. They're adhered via Velcro, I believe, and they have a tendency to just pop off. We even had one club member who tried to more permanently affix his by basically getting more heavy-duty material and sewing them on, things like that, and we still saw those plates pop off. Just with extended use and taking enough hits to those plates, they seem to just basically give up and fall off at times. It was somewhat comical, somewhat annoying during sparring, because you'll have two people, sparring away, and then a plate goes flying off, and we yell gear. We make sure that everything's safe, get the piece, that plate of armor out of the way. Then they'll start sparring again, and another plate will fall off, and we have to repeat the whole process. So I'm a little on the fence about the Axel Peterson Pro version of this jacket, because those plates are just so susceptible to falling off. I do think it's a good idea, though, and when the plates stay on, they do give you more impact absorption, basically, just a little bit more protection. And I do like the thick leather plastron, basically, that's on the front panel of the jacket. So, little on the fence about it. I think it's an interesting jacket. It is somewhat improved, but could use further improvement. Since making that video as well, if you check out SPES's website, there are now many different types of jacket. There's a jacket specifically for wrestling, a thinner jacket for wrestling. There's a this is what you would consider a 350 Newton jacket, I believe, and now they have one that's somewhere around 800 Newtons, just a thicker, hardier jacket. So there's a lot more options that SPES has for getting the jacket that you really want. If you want, just a standard jacket, this one is still awesome. I mean, it's held up for 2 years. Nothing has gone wrong with it. I can't really recommend this jacket enough. It's worked for me. It's worked for our club. It is an excellent sparring jacket, for sure. The other models vary slightly in just, what are they made for? What's the thickness? Do they have, the plastic bits on the outside? And that's really all, personal preference. I think as just a base model jacket, this thing is just excellent. Yeah, can't say enough good things about this jacket, really. My only qualms being that it does, absorb quite a bit of stink, does need to be, washed every so often, and you should not just throw it in your gear bag. One final thing I'll say about this jacket is that you'll notice that I have a bunch of patches, and these are just kind of patches for fun, and these are club patches. So these are, clubs I'm a part of, clubs that we're friendly with, things like that. Sewing patches onto this jacket is an unholy experience. It is very thick, like I said, and because the sleeves don't detach or anything, you have to sew inside the sleeve if you're going to do that. And I have probably stabbed myself 50 times, I've probably drawn more blood doing patches on this jacket than I've drawn blood fighting with swords. So that gives you an idea. The jacket is tricky to sew stuff onto, but it's worth it for me because I like having being able to tell which jacket is mine a little better, adding some personal flair to it, if you want to call it that. And yeah, I just really enjoy it. So that's really my follow-up on this jacket. Just to basically say it has held up well. Everything on the jacket is still functional, and I still use this jacket for full speed sparring, for class work, anything that I want to protect my body for. Also to say that you should maintain your jacket if you get one. Don't throw it in your gear bag, and do wash it frequently. I wanted to talk about some other models of Axel Peterson jacket, which I've tried some, and I think they're all solid. It just depends on your preference for which jacket you prefer and which one you want to get, really. Yeah, so thanks a lot for watching. I plan to do more of these follow-up reviews. It has been about 2 years since I did my first video, and all my gear is still around, so it's time to show you, how those things have held up and hopefully inform your purchases and your decisions about these products. So thanks again for watching. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Talk to you soon. Thanks again for watching. Please hit subscribe and check out some of these other videos.